I played Final Fantasy 13-2 all those years ago, I had a blast playing it. While the combat system wasn't my personal favourite in the series, that would belong to 12, I did enjoy the new Pokemon-like battle mechanic, and it was fun and frustrating trying to recruit all the different beasts you would face in combat. I felt the story was alright, but once you bring in time travel, your story can just become messy, but I like the end result of different locations and different time periods was pretty neat. Lastly, the game's soundtrack is one of my favourites there is in a game that I've played still to this day, so if you haven't listened to it, go check it out. But for now, let's get into me showing you how I made all these different weapons. So Noel's weapon is one that I've practiced a number of times throughout the years, but this attempt now is probably my best to date. I felt confident when I was going to do it, and I wasn't worried that it would mess up at all. I'm quite pleased with the end result, and the hardest bit about this would be the small blades that you have to stick on the edge of it, which you see at the end of this video. I think it's a really cool design. While I'm talking about this game, my god, see trying to get the graviton cores, if it wasn't for Google, I never would have found them at all. Like, maybe I was just like stupid and not reading like the stuff that the game had for you at the time, but like it was one of the most confusing go find these items in a game quest that I had to do. But to be honest, the calcified fragments for Destiny 1 was probably worse because there was like 50 of them instead of 5, and it was for an optional quest, whereas this was for the story, and I was just confused when looking for them, so I did have to turn to Google for that one. I wouldn't have solved it back then if it wasn't for it. So before I started doing this video, I'd never actually tried doing Sarah's bow before, but I found it easy enough. I was just worried about the strings getting caught up and stuff for the bow, but it's just because of the size they were, and they were flimsy and they would break off if they caught on anything. Right after I finished making this video, actually the parts on the left side of the bow just broke off, and I'm not even going to try to attempt to fix them because it's just going to be the same problem I'm going to run into when I do anything like that where it's small and flimsy. I actually did try her sword off screen, so like it was a bit of practice for that, and it turned out alright. Honestly, the bow was easy enough to do, it's just like no sword. Just the hard bit is trying to keep everything around the same size, and usually that's the main issue I have when it comes to making these sort of things out of blue tack, and the smaller they are, the more difficult it causes it to be. But it wasn't too bad, and I was pleased with the result as well. I find Mog cute but annoying. I think it's just the voice, but when you're finally able to fling him about in order to get certain items like your silver chocobo, which is like one of the better sentinels of the base game if I remember right, it was good. I think it's a good idea like one of your party members turns into your weapons as well, but I do like how you're able to make use of that mechanic in order to get some of the better items, like one of the best sentinels for the game. Like I said earlier, I really do like this Pokemon system, and I feel it's better for the game. So like the way with 13, you could just have all your characters being all the same roles. Certain ones were better than others. This time, like if you want the best like synergist, you have to go get a specific monster for it, because Sarah and No don't have access to all the commands in each role, so you have to incorporate them properly. Making Cass's sword was one of the more stressful things I've had to do in a long time. It was definitely the most challenging thing I've made since the Paralyzer and Black Ops 2. And I'd had practice making this before, but overall it was just a really awkward shape. And you know, you just had to like try and get some bits to like stick them on while you're doing it. So I had to work my way from the top of the blade to the handle. I thought that would be the best way to do it, but it was just a difficult piece to do overall. What would help with like not only this but all of them in general is just doing them bigger, because then you've more room to focus on like all the small details and stuff like that, which would make it look more authentic, like a better replica. But if I was to try it again now that I have an idea of where to go, it would turn out better and I could add more details in. But like I said, one of the more challenging things I've had to make. Very happy with the end result. I actually didn't think I was going to be able to do it at one point. When I finished this game's story years ago, I would say it would have one of the more challenging final boss runs in a game. And part of the blame would be my playstyle, because if I found something that worked in one area, I would be very hesitant to change that there. Like for example, I wouldn't use the Saboteur role in any of the party packs, so you're stuck with the enemies buffed and you couldn't debuff them. And that's partially my own fault for having a hard time with the game. But even at that, I was still like the right level to beat the game where you weren't going to have difficulty, and it was challenging. Like I remember staying up like 2 or 3 in the morning trying to get the final boss section done, and it felt really good when I did do it. And the theme tune for that area is pretty good. Like this is what I like. See, this game, it has a really nice soundtrack, lots of different music genres, like orchestra touches here and there. It definitely helps it stick out more in my opinion and makes it very memorable. Well, that's all for now. Let me know what you thought of each weapon attempt in the video so far. Next video will probably be either a stop motion or Ratchet & Clank or something like that. So I'll see you in the next one, and I hope you enjoyed the video. See you there.